My name is Tammy Hendricks. I work at First Christian Church, and I'm the mother of Taylor Hendricks.
My name's Taylor Hendricks. I go to the University of North Alabama, and I'm a senior in the nursing program. I was 11 years old, and I was on the swim team. Started having a lot of problem with my right shoulder.
Of course, we thought that was just from swimming. I ended up getting a phone call from school that she was in a lot of pain.
My whole arm went completely numb, and so I called my mom, and she took me to the Bone and Joint Clinic here in Florence.
And he took her back and did some x-rays. Came out, popped an x-ray up on the board and said, I need to send you to Birmingham to Children's Hospital.
You could tell by his face that he knew that something was wrong. They did a bunch of tests like MRI, CAT scan, and they scheduled me for a biopsy.
We came back, we tried to be normal. Taylor went back to school, I went back to work. I got a phone call on my lunch hour from one of the oncologists at Children's Hospital and said, have you talked to anybody? And I said, no. And they said, okay, well, Taylor's test results came back. It's malignant. She has osteosarcoma. I mean, parents should not have to, one, hear that on their own, and then have to turn around and reciprocate that information to their children.
The first time it really hit me was walked into clinic and I realized all these kids did not have hair. My mom was like, it's how they're getting better.
She started chemotherapy 2 days later. She was 11, she only weighed 89 pounds. In a month's time, she weighed 67 pounds.
And then I had reconstructive surgery on my arm where they found the cancer.
They had to go in and take out her ball and socket and all of her bone up to about an inch above her elbow. She's got complete prosthetics in that arm. And she did really great for 18 months. And then she relapsed.
I was at school one day and I could not catch my breath. They found another spot, and this time it was in my lung.
And the whole time I was in there having that conversation with that doctor, there was a child life specialist from Children's Hospital in the room with Taylor. And they asked her if she was scared that she was going to die. And Taylor said, not for me, but for my parents. She said, I'm not worried about what will happen to me. I'm worried about what will happen to them if I die. She went through that, and almost a year later, it came back again, and that's when we met Dr. Ahmed at Texas Children's.
I got a referral from a colleague pediatric oncologist about this young girl, Taylor. We had a clinical trial for patients with sarcomas that are advanced who have no other options. She came in, and in contrast to what I saw on paper, and I saw a girl who was full of life.
When Dr. Ahmed sat me down and talked to me about this trial, he drew it on a piece of paper and explained everything.
So we draw blood from the patients. We isolate from them the immune cells, and then we reprogram them.
This goes in her body and it attacks the cancer cells. I was concerned, it being an experimental drug, one, would our insurance cover it? And two, if I couldn't afford it, what was I gonna do if this was the thing that was gonna save my child's life? And the first things that came out of their mouth was, oh, you don't have to pay for this. It's completely funded. It's free. Well, she had that in January, and they wanted to give her a few months of that to build up in her body.
The next scan comes out clean, as they call it, and then the next comes out clean, and the next comes out clean, until you graduate a year and you thought, oh God, this seems to be real. She's in remission, and you go into the room and you really want to have a big smile, but you have to only go in conservatively with a small smirk. And several years later, she's one of our advocates.
And we're at the 4.5-year mark of being cancer-free.
It took a long road, but it was worth it.
I honestly believe if we had not had this research through Dr. Ahmed, I don't think she'd be here. I really don't.
Without the funding from Alex's Lemonade Stand, she wouldn't have the opportunity to participate in this. We wouldn't have the opportunity to make this happen for Taylor and other patients like her. And perhaps, she wouldn't have been able to survive, and our work wouldn't have been able to survive.
Organizations like Alex's Lemonade Stand, who concentrate on children and what they need and how the treatment works for them and how they respond to it, are amazing. That's what we need.
These children that are sick need some kind of help. The nurses that helped me, they're my family away from my family here. They were a really big support system. They would do anything for me. That's probably why I chose nursing, just so I could help others in the same way.
And the closer she got to taking the exam to get into nursing school, the more she started thinking about oncology. And she's lost a couple of really close friends, and I think that triggered part of her change in attitude now. And so now her goal is to go back and work with those kids. And if anybody can understand what they've been through, she sure can. I'm grateful that there are people who do this research. I'm grateful that there are people who fund this research. How do you describe being able to see your child grow up? You know, every mom and dad's dream is to see your child graduate high school and go to college and get married and have kids and have a career and just live. Just live. And I'm getting to see her grow up. And I couldn't be more thankful.